Welcome to the Neurodivergent Experience podcast, a podcast where we share the lived experiences of neurodivergent people to help create a better understanding for our community.
Join us every week as we bring you honest, raw, and inspiring conversations with specialists, advocates, and individuals who know exactly what it's like to live the neurodivergent experience.
I'm Jordan James, a neurodivergent specialist, father of neurodivergent children, husband to a neurodivergent wife, and author of The Autistic Experience, and I'm joined by my best friend.
I'm Simon Scott. I'm an autistic ADHD broadcaster, actor, and advocate. Join us as we journey into unravelling the neurodivergent experience.
Hello, and welcome back to the Neurodivergent Experience. I'm Jordan, and I'm with my best friend, Scotty.
Hello. How's it going, my friend? You okay?
I'm just laughing inside, outside, all over the place because I watched the latest South Park episode this morning, and it's so funny because it depicts Donald J, arsehole, big dickhead of the world with a tiny, tiny micro penis. Trying to have sex with Satan, but Satan's not interested because of his tiny, tiny penis.
Well, that'll be a fun watch later this afternoon, I'm sure. That's funny.
It's so funny. It's so funny. But I went down to Cornwall with my family, had an amazing week with just me, Sylvia, and the kids, which is the first time for a long time that it has just been just the four of us without any partners, or as much as we love their partners. It was nice to have my little family to myself, as it were. And we had an amazing time. Went for lots of walks. It was one of those things where you look at the weather and it's like thunderstorms, weather warning, and it was actually really nice.
Yeah, I've had that this week as well. I've been waiting for a thunderstorm that hasn't appeared all week up here. But no, I'm really glad you've had a good time, dude. It's good to have those sorts of like little family time breaks. I'm hoping to have one myself a little bit later in the summer, but life keeps getting in the way at the moment.
Well, it was Sophie's graduation, so we were able to watch my baby girl go up on the stage and shake hands with a bunch of people in weird outfits.
Yeah, they do that, don't they?
All of it's pomp, but they all take it tongue in cheek. Like everyone was whooping and whistling, and it's like there's no decorum from what they expect from the audience. They were encouraging people to, be fun and have fun, but they still had the tradition of like there's some guy walking with what looked to me like a giant candlestick up on the stage, and they're all dressed in robes and things, and it was.
That's what mine was like. I felt like a Sith when I was like wearing mine. It was great. Yeah,
it all looked dumb. I mean, to me, it's all dumb, but it's tradition, and we had to pay £40 for Sophie to rent the robe. So obviously, it's a fucking scamming fleece, basically.
Oh, you've paid £9,000 a year, and now hire a robe.
Yeah, but great pictures. I managed to get a picture of Sophie literally throwing her hat in the air, which we were the only ones that were doing that. And I think that's an American thing.
Oh no, I remember I yeeted mine.
Yeah, but I think it started in America, but we're so used to watching American TV and movies where they're all doing it. Because obviously I got my degree, but it was all online. It was through an online, like, what'd you call it? Like,
Isn't that where Homer became a priest? Isn't that?
Yeah, this is the exact same website where Homer became a priest. I became an IT engineer. Brilliant. I've got an IT engineering degree, which I don't ever use apart from cleaning my Xbox.
But that's what degrees are for,
worth the money.
That's what they're for.
So I got my ceremony and pomp. But yeah, apart from that, it's a massive, massive week. It's been a lot of fun, and I have been the happiest I have been since I can ever remember. Like, I'm just so happy. And yes, I still have bad days. Obviously, my back was a problem the first couple of days I was there because it was a different bed, because it was an Airbnb, and that was a problem. And that starts bringing me down. And then I remember the circle of control. And that is what we're here for. We're here to talk about that because Ashley is here with us, and you are here to help the millions of people that will listen to this show. Is that where we're at now?
Absolutely.
We're in the millions.
Hello.
I was quite.
Hello.
No, not quite, but we'll get there. So yeah, no, the voice you're hearing is Ashley Bentley, breathwork practitioner, all-round wonderful human being. I'm really interested to talk to you today about the circle of control. I'm just looking at our notes here, and reclaiming power in a chaotic world. Blimey, now that is a skill I think all of us would love to have in our back pocket. Jordan, I know, has talked about it at length, about some of the issues that he's tried to overcome, especially with anger and frustration and how that can lead into meltdowns. The circle of control for me has been a skill that I wouldn't say have truly adopted into everyday life, but it really does help me with emotional regulation, my nervous system regulation, and it just stops me ruminating. Rumination is such a mind killer for me. So I'm really looking forward to having this sort of conversation with you today, Ashley. So, you've got here, it's a powerful tool for navigating overwhelm, uncertainty, emotional spirals. But what is the circle of control?
Okay, so yes, this is so many of us right now are just continually feeling disempowered in our lives. We feel kind of trapped in our jobs, our responsibilities, and all of these. And not only that, so that's personal life, but then we've got the onslaught of information of hearing about all of the ridiculous things happening all around the world that are just, we're just at fever pitch with just feeling completely out of control. And we are sort of hardwired to put our time, focus, and energy onto things that are outside of our circle of control. So, let's look at what is the circle of control. These are things that are all in your power. This is how you start to feel more empowered, more in the driver's seat of your life. And we'll talk about the circle of control when you're literally behind the wheel too at some point, because I know Jordan is going to bring that up at some point. But so what is in your circle of control? So your mindset, what you choose to give your energy to, the boundaries you set, how you speak to yourself, being present in the moment. Now, how you speak to yourself, a lot of people might say, well, yeah, but I get these intrusive thoughts. Okay, that's fine. Those will happen. But then we have the power to reframe those thoughts and bring in a new context to things. So let's look at what's outside of the circle of control. The actions of others, past mistakes, the outcome of your efforts, the future, the opinions of others, what other people think of me, and also other people's boundaries. We are very hardwired to pay attention to these things outside of our circle of control, and it makes sense. So let's just pretend that we are back in our hunter-gatherer ancestor days, okay? And we're living in a tribe, a small tribe of around 70 people. It's going to be really, really important for you to be thinking about the opinions of others and what other people think of you and the actions of others. This is important because the small tribes were really supporting one another, really working together. It was really a collaborative group effort. But if you think about it now, we have access to information of what everybody's doing around the world. It's too much. It's way, way too much. And we're just left feeling completely just, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe that's happening. There's a million and one things to get really upset about that are completely outside of our circle of control. And it just leaves us feeling completely deflated. Our nervous systems are feeling activated. Now, and this is what's so important. The neurodivergent nervous system is already acting at a higher level, at a higher capacity than a neurotypical. So then you add on everything that's going on in your personal life, in your job, and all the things that we have access to in the media. It's too much. And we forget. It's easy to forget in the moment. Hey, actually, I have a lot of things that are in my control right now. I'm going to put my focus on that. And that's going to help me feel grounded, more empowered, and more in control.
Yeah, because we have heightened empathy levels. I mean, obviously we get rid of that ridiculous myth of having a lack of empathy. I mean, especially us, when we say we, as in the people I know, have an abundance of empathy. And I think for me personally, it's that high level, that intense level of empathy is what I struggle with out of my circle of control.
Yeah.
This is why I have to be so careful with what I expose myself to as far as, the news and media. I have to almost micromanage the content that I expose myself to, or the things that I am willing to learn about, because I am so out of control, or I was so out of control because I couldn't control those things, but I felt like I should be able to, because also I'm a puzzle solver. I'm a problem solver. I'm a highly intelligent being who can sit there, and in my brain, I'm like, right, but if we did this, this, and this, and this, things could actually be much better. But I can't, all I can do is make a post. So really, most of these things are out of my control, and it's letting go of that control that I found so hard, but so rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this sort of touches upon the whole let them thing that is sort of sweeping the globe right now.
Oh, the Mel Robbins sort of.
Yeah. Of which, there are some really good points in the whole let them. There are also a lot of holes in the whole let them thing, but
I haven't heard of it.
Oh, have you not? This is more, dealing with when we are trying to change a situation that's happening that isn't ours, that's happening outwardly, with other people. We just say, you know what, let them. For example, why didn't so and so invite me out, or my 3 friends went out without me. Why didn't they invite me? You know what? Just let them. Or this happened, or those people are doing that thing that I know they're doing it wrong.
That guy was driving on his phone and vaping at the same time, and let them.
Oh yeah, being the witness.
Yeah.
Just it is what it is, and this is the thing, that the wanting to rescue people is also a big thing. This has been a big thing in my life. I've had issues with codependency, really feeling like it's my responsibility to make this person happy. I've got to do. No, it's actually, that's their work, and recognizing what is your work and what is other people's work. And what we can do, and you've mentioned this just a moment ago, Jordan, is basically we can plant seeds with other people. We can be the inspiration for, be a good mentor, be a good example. We can plant seeds, but we can't do other people's work for them, nor should we try. Because actually, if we do try, we're kind of denying them the work that's needed to fully understand and get themselves out of where they are. Now, if somebody is coming to you with can you give me some advice? Absolutely. We give people advice, but it's so important to recognize what is your own work and what is other people's work. So it's not just getting angry and upset with other people and why are they doing this, but also, just letting people do what they're going to do and focus on what is in your circle of control. And that includes, not ruminating on the past. Either the past is the past. Let the past support you. Whatever you've learned along the way, the mistakes you've made actually has given you a lot of wisdom that you're likely not tapping into because you're so focused on things outside of your control.
I think it's a fascinating sort of concept, really, because if I, speaking candidly, the things that I struggle about my neurodivergent traits is sort of like the idea of autonomy and also the need to sort of be heard. Like I have a lot of perception sensitivity. And because I'm so empathetic as well, I am driven by the need to act on my feelings. If there's something within inside of me, I do have the sort of nervous energy of, if I don't deal with this, it's going to consume me. So I really do sort of acknowledge the need of control, but also sort of the overwhelming feeling for the need of control. So what are the things that we can do that can activate the sort of mindset that can get us thinking about the circle of control? What are the things that we can do to take steps to sort of like activate this thinking, Ashley?
Well, first of all, stepping into witness mode is really where everyone's superpower is. I've been working on this framework myself called Aware, Allow, Align. And it's kind of deconstructing radical acceptance, because basically that's what we need to do with everything outside of our circle of control is radical acceptance. And that can be a tricky one sometimes, especially because it has that word acceptance in it, which kind of sounds like you like it. But really acceptance is about just not resisting what is. So this aware, allow, align, dropping into aware is the first one, drop into witness mode. Allow, that's the sort of acknowledge what is. And then once you've done that, you've already stepped out of the emotional fear center of your brain by doing that. And that is going to lead you to feel much more grounded and in control. And then you can move forward. The third bit, the align, is moving forward with your own, values and needs. The first thing is recognizing when you might be in the outside of your circle of control. So if you are ruminating, if you are people pleasing, if you are doom scrolling, obsessing over what ifs, these are all signs. Or if you're in dogma mode, it shouldn't be like this. It should be like this. And, that's your clue. You're resisting what's happening and you're putting your focus in something that is outside of your control. So the first thing is recognizing when you're not in your circle of control. And then once you've recognized it, that's when you're like, okay, what can I be in control of right now? My mindset, the context that I give things to. You both brought up something really interesting before I came in. And that was you were talking about the weather report. The weather was saying it was going to be awful and showers, and it was actually quite nice. Isn't it interesting how the context that we give things, which we are able to choose the context we give things, it affects everything? Because this happened to me once when I was going away. I was looking at the weather report where I was going, and it looked like it was just going to be awful, and I was like, ugh. And then I got there and it was actually just kind of gray. It wasn't a washout. And I was like, yay. But I thought, well, isn't it interesting if I had checked the weather report and it said it was going to be sunny, then I would have gotten there and that gray weather would have been disappointing.
Same as when you watch a movie. If people have told you the movie's not that good, so you go in there with low expectations, and in fact the movie is actually okay, it's pretty good, suddenly you just think, oh, that movie was amazing because your expectations were so low. But if someone's like, this is the greatest movie ever, and unless it's the new Superman, you might be disappointed. Because if somebody tells me the new Superman movie is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, I'm not going to be disappointed because it. Well,
really that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because further from that point, this is where my sort of rumination goes. If I have somebody tell me that a movie is not going to be very good and then it is going to be good, my brain doesn't focus on the happiness of, oh, the movie exceeded my expectations. I go, why did that person not like the film? Like that's
wrong with that
my sort of
asshole?
Control goes. I go, but why didn't you
What a
like it?
dick.
How can I show you it's a good film? And then that's it. I'm out of control.
Yeah. You're resisting what is. These people have their own opinion as to what has happened, as to the movie, and it's different from yours. And rather than try and, really sit on it and understand it, it's like that time, focus, and energy can be used elsewhere. And it leaves us feeling depleted, trying to understand other people's reasoning. And, apart from your nearest and dearest, obviously our family, our close loved ones, we do have a very, it is important to understand the special people in our life and try and get to understand them deeply. But, trying to understand why, somebody that you don't know very well is doing something that you think is ridiculous is keeping you, and it's from, doing something else and being in your circle of control. And that depletes your energy. And that leads to a dysregulated nervous system. I mean, and we get this a lot on the job as well. And I think a lot of people out there might be going, okay, right, Ashley, well, here I am. I'm in my job. I have no agency. I have to, do exactly what's told of me. And yes, but this is where your mindset comes in. Nobody can make you have complete control over your own mindset. And you can decide the context that you have for anything. If anything is towards your greater good, you can find a way around it. You can reframe pretty much almost anything to say, right, okay, I may not enjoy this, but this is for my greater good. And I can control how I view this.
Yeah, it's a fascinating sort of ability to sort of change the mindset. As I'm sort of listening to you, Ashley, I think about so many sort of my neurodivergent traits, especially my bottom-up processing of how I just absolutely dissect everything in front of me, from facial expressions to reactions to people's reasoning. And it drains so much of my energy, and that has such an effect on my sensory regulation, my executive dysfunction, even like emotional spiral. So after the break, I would love to dig into that with you. So stay with us. We will be right back.
This episode of the Neurodivergent Experience is brought to you by RTN Mental Health Solutions. With up to a 5-year waiting list for autism and ADHD assessments via the NHS, and that's even if you get a referral from your GP, getting an assessment in the UK has never been harder. So if you're like me and can't wait anymore, going private may be the best option for you. RTN offers online assessments for kids aged 6 right up to adults. To make it more accessible, RTN can offer payment plans up to 5 months. You can access their remote services from the comfort of your home anywhere in the UK, and RTN offers group and one-to-one counselling, a private route to access ADHD medication following the assessment, and will even fight for you if your GP doesn't accept the results. So if you live in the UK and can't wait to get an assessment, go to www.rtnmentalhealthsolutions.com and use the discount code RTN23, making it even more affordable for all of our listeners to get an autism and ADHD assessment.
Welcome back to the Neurodivergent Experience. I'm Simon Scott with Jordan James as always, and we've got our in-house therapist and just helpful human being extraordinaire, Ashley Bentley, sat with us today. And we've been talking about the concept of the circle of control, and something I think all neurodivergent people listening to this, and if you're listening on the behalf of neurodivergent people, they will tell you this, we all struggle with sensory overload. It is my biggest weakness, and I'm sure if you're listening to this as well, it may be yours. So how can the circle of control help us regulate our sensory issues, Ashley?
Well, yeah, this is a great one. So what is in our control is how we choose to stim. What are your favorite ways to regulate yourself? Because you're absolutely right. If we don't focus on reducing the nervous system activation, it could lead to spiraling and meltdowns and eventually, shutdown, burnout, all of that. So first off, a great way that, have you two heard of power posing? There was a famous TED talk. Amy Cuddy talked about the power of our body language. Have either of you seen this?
I've not seen it, but I have heard of power posing before, but it was more to do with like acting motif than it was sort of like a business thing.
Power posing is amazing because this is what is so fascinating about our body language. Okay, so we know when we are feeling stressed and insecure and not feeling confident, we make ourselves small, don't we? We sort of, we usually put our hands over our chest and we sort of hunch over. We make ourselves small, and we know this intuitively. We can see other people, and we can see other people's body language and know intuitively that person doesn't feel okay right now. And if somebody is feeling very confident, they make themselves very big. They take up a lot of space. So a wide leg stance,
just
arms
man
out.
spreading.
Yeah. But the amazing thing about this is you can use your body. If you're feeling disempowered, you want to feel more grounded and more confident, you can physically make yourself big. So if you stand with your legs wide and your arms up, and you do that for 2 minutes, your testosterone goes up. So ladies too, we have testosterone. It helps with our confidence, and your cortisol goes down. And cortisol is one of our stress hormones. So intentionally making yourself big. So this is in your control. Your body language does happen automatically, but you can take conscious control over it to change how you are feeling. And it really does work. So if you have like an interview or a public speaking engagement or something that is really making you feel very jittery, you can go to the loo or something like that and do a power pose for 2 minutes before you go out. And it really, really helps to calm.
It's funny you say that, Ashley, because that is something that I have used subconsciously. And I got it from Ted Lasso. You know, have you seen it?
Different type of TED
no
talk.
Way.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
There's a character in it
yeah.
who specifically says, when I go into things that I get anxious about, I make myself as big and as scary as possible. And I've just sort of did it as a bit of a joke, and it actually felt really good. And something that I've integrated into my routine in the morning is I have stairs where there's a banister, and I'll hang from them just to sort of like stretch my arms out. Because one of the things that I've sort of just developed as I've gotten older, just being a naturally anxious person, is I have a bit of the, tuck your arms, tuck your knees, brace for impact sort of natural posture. I have very tight sort of under my armpits and everything because I keep my arms very close to my body. So it's something I'm actively working on, is trying to get my deltoids and my traps and everything open, because I carry so much tension and stress in the top half of my body.
Yeah. Brilliant. And, and a lot of that could be also down to breathing incorrectly. If we are stressed, we normally start to shallow breathe, which means we start to use the wrong muscles in our upper back. So if you've got a lot of tension and knots in the back of your neck and in between your shoulder blades, it's likely that you are shallow breathing high in your chest, and we need to be breathing low and slow. And just breathing correctly can help to calm our nervous system down. So our breath is also in our control. Our breath happens automatically, but we can take conscious control over it. And so there's so many beautiful somatic things that we can do to ground ourselves in the present moment, put you in witness mode, and all of these things with using our body and using our breath. Tapping is a great one. There's something called the butterfly hug, which is a really beautiful one where you cross your hands over your chest, and then you just lightly tap on your collarbones and just breathe lightly in and out through your nose. And if you want, you can sort of sway side to side. And that's really good for calming you down. And really focusing, I think that the mindset is so important and is really, for me, that's the easiest one to really begin to put me back into my circle of control. Like, right, okay, what is this moment teaching me right now? What can I learn from this moment? And there will be a nugget. There'll be a nugget of something there. And that immediately makes you feel, right, okay, I am back in the driver's seat. All of these things happening around me, I can't control, but I do have control over what's going on in my mind. And that, do you know what? That is actually the crux of the seminal book, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. If any of you have heard of it or read of it, I'm a big fan of it, and it was written by a psychologist who was in the concentration camps in the Holocaust, and he witnessed the people who were able to emotionally make it through that period and people who weren't, and the people who were able to make it through that emotionally were the ones that focused on, you can take everything away from me, but you can't take away what's going on up here. We always have control of our mindset. Basically, it's a real important one.
Even when I feel like I'm within my circle of control, I often, especially as a neurodivergent person, becoming very hyperfocus, another term for it, not the best term, is obsessed with things. And just for one example I can give is pop characters. I do have like a crack cocaine level addiction to pop characters. Like even when I'm not buying them, I'm just scrolling through Amazon looking at pop characters, or I'll see them in shops, or I'm just walking past a charity shop and I'm just, I wonder if they've got any pop characters in there. Like, this is something that's just constantly on my mind. I have like nearly 200 now, and that was like 150 of them ago. I promised Sylvia I wouldn't buy any more, and I don't ever break my promises to Sylvia, but I have with pop characters. Now I've just recently bought 4 more. Because I'm into Star Wars and they're all Star Wars bobbleheads. And it's that point I'm just like, okay, this is just getting crazy, because I don't have anywhere to put them. They're just in boxes now. So I'm in control of that. Like I have the money. It's not putting me any financial, because some pop characters secondhand, I like 4 perfectly good pop characters out of the box was £9. £9 for 4 pop characters. That almost feels like, I have control because I have the finances to be able to afford £9 for 4 really good pop characters.
That's you negotiating with yourself, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's like, how do I gain control of being out of control of my circle of control? Help me.
Well, so that's a whole other topic of that is similar to no, but it's really relevant. I'm glad you brought it up, because a lot of people out there are probably having similar questions, and this is more to do with, we can look at this as more of an addiction issue. I'm not saying that you have an addiction, but it's similar to that.
Oh no, I do. I mean, I think the first part of me, my not having addiction, is admitting I definitely have an addiction to pop characters. I definitely do.
That's that thing with that like monotropic focus, though, isn't it? Is you do sort of like get stuck in that rabbit hole, and if it gives you dopamine, it feels like it's feeding your circle of control because you're doing something that is sort of regulating you, right?
Yeah, and dopamine is key here. And the interesting thing with dopamine is it's often called the pursuit of pleasure, but really it should be thought of the pleasure of pursuit. So you're getting dopamine in pursuit, and not so much when you actually obtain it. It's the pursuing. That's when you're getting most of the dopamine, is when you are in pursuit, when you're when you're looking for it and you're buying it and it's yet to arrive. All of this is where you're getting dopamine. Once you do have it, it's like, yes, you enjoy it, but you're kind of thinking about the next one because that's where the dopamine is. It's no longer in what you already have.
I wanted to ask you that, Jordan, because I'm not a collector as much as you are. You know, like you've said, you've got like 200 pop characters and stuff.
I've got 60 in my eye line. Where I'm sitting,
technically you've got a few more because you've given me some as well. There's a couple that are just chilling off camera.
Oh yeah, I'll get onto that. I'll get onto this in my next obsession.
What I find interesting about it is, where's the buzz for you? Is it because you were saying, you find you're walking past a shop and then it hits you rumination. You go, maybe they've got a. Is it the owning it? Like, do you find sitting with them in your eye line brings you the most sort of like regulation, or is it the chase?
It's neither. I just like the look of them. I think they're adorable. They're little pockets of memory, because I am so traumatized by my childhood that I will grab hold of any memory within my vast eidetic, it happened yesterday kind of memory. I'm so desperate to replace my negative memories with positive ones. And a lot of people shit on pop characters, a lot of collectors shit on pop characters. And I'm like, well, that's your thing. But for me, pop characters are nostalgia. They're pockets of memory that I can grab onto. And if I can just look at something, even if, like I said, I scroll through Amazon, I'm not buying. I just want to look at the pop characters. And I just want to see the thing that I remember from my flipping shitty childhood that wasn't shitty. And there's so many pop characters that bring that out, like my turtle ones, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones, like my South Park ones, like my Lord of the Rings ones. I mean, Lord of the Rings, when that came out, yeah, it was 2000, but I was still dealing with my brother's death. I was still dealing with so much trauma. And it was one thing, in fact, it's the thing that makes me the happiest ever. Lord of the Rings is my favorite thing ever. And it's like to have that in my eyesight right now. I've got pretty much every Lord of the Rings pop character. I'm missing a few. If you want to send them in, that's fine. But they make me so happy because Lord of the Rings makes me happy. And it's like bite-sized things that I also find them really cute. But I've got like a giant Michael Jordan one in front of my TV. I've got Wallace and Gromit. I've got Halo. I've got a Big Daddy. I've got Ghostbusters. It's just anything that I can grab hold of that makes me not feel like shit in my head. And that's what pop characters do for me. So when I get of the idea of like, I'm going to buy people gifts, when I gift people pop characters, which is my go-to thing, most people I'm like, what are you into? And they'll go, I'm into this. And I'll be like, there's got to be a pop character. And literally, I know how much you love Blink-182. And I know how much you love music.
Yeah.
So when I said to you, I'm going to buy you some pop characters, and you're like, okay. Because like,
it's out of my control.
Yeah, it's out of your control. If you're going to get a present from Jordan, it's going to be a pop character. Just live with it. Or a cuddly toy. Just live with it.
Yeah.
I will push my love of it onto everyone else. And I know you. And so my whole thing of like, I love you was I found you a Blink-182 set of pop characters, like a whole set.
It's literally right here, look. And
I sent that to you. I love it. I sent that to you.
It's great.
And that's my way of showing I love you, is because I know that you'll love that because it will bring your happy memories. It will bring you joy, like it brings me joy. So it's not just bringing me joy with these little pockets of memory and memorabilia. It's bringing that to other people, and that's my way of showing I love people. So it's an obsession. It is an addiction, but it's a relatively harmless one. But because it doesn't break my bank balance, I don't go chasing expensive ones. I'm not in it to make money. That's why I don't have the boxes. All the boxes are in the loft. It's just that. It's just I need positive memories, and that's what they help me with.
Yeah, I think the symbolism there is really important, and as you say, yeah, this is not sort of. It's not getting out of control. It's not breaking the bank. It's not, this is under control, I think.
Yeah, but then I punish myself for it because I always feel like it's ridiculous. Like, why am I buying so many? Like it's...
Well, as you just said, it's highly symbolic for your inner child, and it's really serving a lot of really beautiful, and it's how you're connecting with others. You're giving it as... So this is, I think it sounds like a really beautiful part of who you are.
I think it's fascinating, though, looking at it from that sort of like neurodivergent lens when talking about the circle of control, because we are collectors and pebble givers by nature. This is a lot of the way that we sort of show affection of, I like a thing, here's a thing. It's interesting how you could view that as being without control, outside of the circle of control. Because like you just said there, Jordan, even though it brings you like sustainable energy management and regulation and helps you, sort of like healing your inner child and some of your trauma, there is that rumination that's still happening there. But I know certain people that are autistic or just neurodivergent people, and their collections are out of control. I've known people that have got into serious debt chasing that dopamine.
Oh yeah, no, I know people.
And I think it's so interesting how there's like this constant balance of burnout prevention. It's like, I love live music. Going to see a concert heals my burnout prevention for months in advance. But financially, I could get out of control with that. I'm going to see some great shows this year that I'm super excited for, but I've had to choose that over having a vacation because of the implications financially. So I think it's so fascinating discussing this sort of circle of control and how I've used it myself. But there's a fine line between looking at something that you think is in control when really it isn't. I think that's a really fascinating thing you've brought up there, Jordan.
Yeah. And I think what's really important is when you notice something about yourself that is feeling like it is on a bit of a slippery slope. It's like, oh, I'm kind of losing my grip with the control over things that I like, things that I enjoy. That's when you notice that, that's the awareness again. Okay. Allow it, aware, allow, align, bring it. Let's focus. Let's shift focus for a moment to something that is more in my control. It's a continual ebb and flow between these things that we love in our life. Too much of anything, it can be a bad thing. So even good things, even too much sunlight, even too much water. So we're always trying to balance things out. So the things that you enjoy, that you feel like, oh, sometimes I'm kind of not losing my grip of control. When you notice that, just bring your awareness to something else that is in your control. And it's just this continual being kind with yourself as well. This is why aware, allow, align is so important, because if you catch yourself, let's say focusing on something outside of your control, don't say no, or get mad at yourself for doing it. Become aware of it and allow that moment to be what it is. Don't resist what's happening, and then move forward in alignment with things that are in your control that are going to be helpful. It's all about being really, really kind to yourself as often as possible.
So what I'm hearing is that I should now immediately go and buy more pop characters.
I love that's what you took from that.
That's all I heard is Jordan, keep buying them, and I will go and tell Sylvia that Ashley told me as my therapist, my official therapist has told me to buy more pop characters. But then I think Sylvia's going to have some sessions with you dealing with the fact that she is now living with more pop characters than probably bacteria in the house. And probably more bacteria because of the bacteria and the pop characters. As she calls them, dust collectors. I call them memories. That's what I call them.
Well, I think that's a great time for us to take a break there to give Jordan a chance to go on Amazon and have a look at some more dust collectors. We'll be right back after this break.
Listen up! You can get the new iPhone 16e with Apple Intelligence for just $49.99 when you switch to Boost Mobile. We pulled so many all-nighters to give you this deal, and hey, stop messing with the mic!
I'm just helping us catch people's attention. This is a great deal!
Exactly, so it doesn't need all that.
Fine.
Get the new iPhone 16e, available at Apple Store locations and the Apple Store online.
Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store for full offer details. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later. Restrictions apply.
Have you ever felt stuck in patterns that don't serve you? Struggled with stress or wanted to connect more deeply with yourself? Then I have to introduce you to a friend of the podcast, Ashley Bentley of Integrated Coaching, Breathwork and Hypnotherapy. Ashley is a highly experienced clinical hypnotherapist and coach specializing in working with neurodivergent minds. Through a unique blend of integrative coaching, breathwork, and hypnotherapy, Ashley helps people rewire subconscious patterns, regulate their nervous systems, and step into more empowered versions of themselves. Whether you're dealing with addiction, anxiety, burnout, or struggles with self-acceptance, Ashley offers practical and science-backed tools tailored just for you. Her unique methods combine neuroscience, storytelling, and subconscious transformation to create real, lasting change. Jordan and I can personally attest to the profound and transformative effects of her sessions, which have been life-changing. She does all of these sessions online, meaning she can work with you no matter where you are in the world. If you're ready to break free from old patterns and start living with more clarity, confidence, and connection, go to bit.ly/AshleyNDE to book a free consultation or learn more. Welcome back to the Neurodivergent Experience. Simon Scott here with Jordan James and Ashley Bentley. We've been discussing the circle of control and pop characters as well. But yes, welcome back. And we'd love to, just before we wrap up with you, Ashley, just discuss a couple more practical tools and just a few things that, listeners could maybe walk away from with this episode. So you've got here, and I think this is a fascinating little quote, what's actually mine to carry right now?
It's a great question to ask. That single question can stop a spiral in its tracks. And it can really bring awareness to hidden overfunctioning and opens the door to a gentler, wiser moment with yourself and with others. And this is the whole, this brings in the whole, let them, not rescuing somebody, not getting angry. Really, what is in this moment, whatever's happening, whatever's occurring, what's mine to carry right now? What is my work and what is somebody else's work? And really, and this gets easier over time, by the way. This is really important. I really need to emphasize this. Like with anything, this is a skill. So the more you practice it, and the more you do it, the better you will get at it. So that what's mine to carry right now, when you first start, it may not be abundantly clear in that moment. And that's okay too. That's okay too. The more often you ground yourself and try and calm yourself, calm down your nervous system, get you out of that fear center of your brain, get you into witness mode, you'll be able to see things much more as they are, and you'll be able to ascertain what is yours and what isn't. And it can be difficult, again, especially if we are used to fawning and people pleasing. We kind of just want the overwhelm to stop in the moment, and we can really sort of disempower ourselves. So just go easy on yourself as you begin to put this into practice. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So the more often you use this, the the more effective it will be. And really reclaiming focus from rumination or hyperfixation loops. So shifting focus doesn't mean ignoring. It means deciding what deserves your attention now and what can wait. It's about choosing the contents of your mind.
Yeah, for any people that are listening that might be skeptical, might be like, oh, this might work for some people. Well, I mean, I'm always skeptical. I mean, that's my whole thing. And when it came to allowing myself to listen to others, which is very hard for me, being demand avoidant, the benefits of this have been huge. And just a quick example of that, which I've always had a problem with, is driving and my anger levels being so much worse, so heightened, as it is with a lot of people. There's literally a term, it's called road rage. And since working with Ashley, since allowing myself to be the witness, and since understanding the circle of control, I've realized that it's almost, I can do it with a car, is that my circle of control is inside my car. That's what I have control over. I have control over my car. I have no control over anything else other than my actions while I'm driving. And within my car of control, within my pod of control, I am at peace, because I know that no one can take that control away from me. And if they do, I don't have control over that either. So there's no point in me getting upset or angry when other drivers do stupid things, because drivers are going to do stupid things. That's just what happens. It will happen every time I'm in the car. Every time I do a journey, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, I'm going to see people doing really, really stupid things. And I have no control over that. I just have to avoid them doing stupid things. And my expectations, which we were talking about earlier, about high expectations and low expectations, my expectation is that everybody's going to do a stupid thing, and not everybody does. So nowadays, I actually get happy when I'm like, oh, somebody actually indicated. That's a win.
There is
and when someone doesn't indicate, I go, well, I didn't expect them to. But because I didn't expect them to, I was ready for them to not indicate. So therefore, I'm not angry about it. And that's a huge deal for me, to not get angry at other drivers. And the circle of control has literally turned me into a very angry, aggressive driver, to somebody who was like completely aware of other people and how upset they're getting. And then I'm turning around to my wife, to other people I'm driving with, other people that talk to me about their driving. And I'm like, let me tell you about the circle of control.
I think it's a great sort of metaphor as well, isn't it? Because within your car, you can set the temperature, you can set the music, you can set your driving position. There's so much that you have control over. It's like I had it simply yesterday. Right, I went to a shopping centre, and it's absolutely baffled me how I've gone from living in London and never feeling like I was being overwhelmed by it, to moving to a smaller city and then going back to London and going, oh my God, this is a sensory nightmare.
Yeah.
To now moving to the suburbs, so even just going to a city at all is a sensory nightmare. And I've realised how much of my life I've lived unregulated and overstimulated. So now when that does flash across my face, it's like what you're saying, aware, allow, align. I'm so much more aware of it now, especially as a diagnosed person, because so many of the negative traits of being neurodivergent didn't have a meaning. They didn't have an understanding or like a core reason. Like what Jordan was saying with driving, you're almost so kept swept up in the moment, you can't see the wood for the trees. So having that ability to sort of pause, breathe, you don't have control of everything, but what I do have control over is what I do next, is a very, very powerful tool, not just like for all people, I think, but especially the alternative neurotype.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it is the most brilliant place to practice the circle of control behind the wheel. I mean, and we say it all the time. I think I said it earlier in this message, be in the driver's seat of your life. And so, yeah, when I catch myself, because I have a high hurry up driver, different term for what's driving my behavior rather than actual literal driving. A lot of times I'll be running late for things, and then of course I'm behind the wheel, and I'm just and then somebody in front of me is going really slow, but they're not aware of my poor planning.
Every red light feels personal, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I realize this is my masterclass. This is my masterclass and the circle of control. And I can feel, the immediate sort of resistance. It's like, no, but I'm feeling it. And actually, the more it's like, no, actually bring it down. It's a beautiful, because I mean, I'm sure we all know people who are just super, super zen and super chill, but they get behind the wheel and you're like, you are a different person. It is, it's a great place to practice this. And I'm so glad that you're putting it into practice, Jordan, and telling others we're sharing our tools. This is what's really important.
Yeah, people just get really annoyed. They're like, yeah, but you always get annoyed. I'm like, not now, my friend. Now I am in the circle of control, and I am in control.
I think you've mentioned something really interesting there, and that's something, Ashley, I think might be an interesting thing to finish on. Once you start finding the circle of control and people are comparing you to the time when you weren't in the circle of control, how do you navigate keeping control?
Well, as I said a few minutes ago, this is a skill that develops over time. So really be patient with yourself. You're not going to be able to diffuse every single moment just immediately after hearing about the circle of control. Again, just try and be as curious and open as possible. And recognize also our brains are, future prediction making machines, basically. Our brains are constantly trying to predict what's going to happen next. So again, we are really hardwired to be focusing on, the future, basically, even if that future is just a few moments from now. So go really easy on yourself and recognize this is a skill, and try and be as playful and curious and open with it as possible. Not put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I think also a really, really big part of it is, for me, forgiving yourself for the past mistakes, knowing that you can't change those. So if you're punishing yourself, if I'm punishing myself for my past mistakes, then all I'm doing is I'm damaging myself more, which is then in turn damaging my future. And, I've got to forgive myself for the mistakes I made. Other people have forgiven me for the mistakes I've made, and I need to forgive myself. And I am forgiving myself. It is a process of forgiving myself. And once I always forgive myself for that one thing, I'm like, well, I've healed myself a little bit for the future, because that's all I have control over, is what I do next.
Exactly. And be the change you wish to see in the world. There's nothing more inspiring than somebody who has completely changed how they deal with life. So, no embarrassment for the past. In fact, how great is it to say, gosh, look how much I've grown. Look how much I've changed. Look where I used to be, and look at where I am now. And this is where the whole planting seeds thing is great, and really being, a wonderful sort of example for others, rather than trying to, get everybody on board with this. You can share your tools, but it's really up to the other person to put it into action.
I think that's the interesting whole, like, the aspect of the entire concept really is, I think, and I know this as somebody who struggles with like rumination and rejection, and I'm also a pattern matcher and a bottom-up processor. I'm constantly processing the data, and I do that to myself so much. And I have to remind myself I'm on a journey. I've not had a journey. I'm on it. So even when I'm reflecting on things that I've done in the past, it's not fixed because the future isn't fixed. I have the opportunity to rectify a mistake or do something different. And that's healing, isn't it? That's essentially what we're trying to do, you know, by gaining control, we're activating the awareness and the acceptance of wanting to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so beautifully put. I love that. Yes.
That's awesome, dude.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And I think listeners will, you know, really come away with something here. You know, it's that clarity of like understanding, the ability to sort of anchor your body in a stressful space. And also, even like with Jordan sharing how he was feeling around his pop characters and the sort of maybe a bit of guilt, a bit of embarrassment about healing your inner child. It's just sort of like, so I really hope people come away from feeling a bit of acceptance and be kind to yourself. We're all making it up as we go along, aren't we? And we're just trying to find what works for us. And day by day, that can change.
Absolutely. This kindness, a fast track to that is just be really fascinated by yourself. Like, be really, really like, gosh, that's interesting. I wonder why I did that. And really be curious and really interested. We are fascinating and really focusing on that.
I am especially fascinating. I'm the first person that's going to be picked up by the aliens when they finally arrive. They'll be like, that's the dude. That guy is so fucking weird. We want to know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, they'll probably bring me back if they come for me.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll be like, can I bring my pop character? So we have some exciting news, which is the other reason we have Ashley here. Scotty, what is the exciting news?
Well, Ashley's our in-house therapist, right? And both of us can attest to her work. And, you know, working with Ashley has been one of the big helps for me the past year or two. And we want to sort of pass that on to you listeners. Ashley has had her own podcast herself, which is wonderful, but we've asked her if she will do one for us. So every Monday moving forward from, well, when will that Monday be? Good question.
Monday soon.
Soon. To lower all expectations, to keep it within our circle of control, it's going to be soon.
Announced.
Coming soon. But hopefully in the next few weeks, folks. But Ashley, do you want to tell us a little bit about Mindful Mondays?
Yes, absolutely. So we all know the sort of the Monday dread is a very real thing where, you know, we sort of just want to we want to grab hold of the weekend. We want to make the weekend a little bit longer. And we start the week off so often feeling really disempowered. And it's like, I've got to go to work and I've got to, all the responsibilities just fall on us. And really, so what I want to do is I want to really flip the script on Mondays and make Mondays the most empowering, most sort of like, I can't wait to start this week off and with purpose and presence, because this is really what I think most people are lacking and needing in their life. So often my clients are coming to me with this lack of meaning and purpose in their life. And also we are so often pulled away from being present, being in this witness mode. So purpose and presence and what is mindfulness and how does it affect the neurodivergent brain and body and how can we use nervous system regulation to help us be more mindful? All of these things that are sort of my favorite things to talk about. I wanted to have a nice sort of bite-size chunk of it to start your week off. So they're only going to be 20 minutes long, the episodes, and it'll be 10 minutes of talking, and then we'll finish off each episode with a 10-minute guided meditation to really help people feel just super grounded and present and ready to move forward with their week.
I'm just excited that now we have 3 episodes a week for different types of ideas, different types of content, and we can spread the word of neurodivergence and help more neurodivergent people through what I would consider now to be the Neurodivergent Experience Network. So we are building, we are spreading our message, we are planting those seeds, and Ashley, you are now a huge part of that. I'm so excited.
Well, I'm so very honored. I'm so
We're
very honored.
honored.
Thank you so much. This is, this is a beautiful, I love it. A lovely love fest happening here. It's so important what the two of you are doing. And I am honored to be a part of the network. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No, it's our pleasure. And as Jordan said, whether it's sort of like a network or just necessarily an outlet, just by having neurodivergent voices, sharing skills, sharing stories, sharing experiences, you know, I really do hope that you as a listener can take away a lot from whether you're listening to a hot topic on a Friday with Jordan and I, or the main show like this one on a Thursday, and soon joining us with Mindful Mondays with Ashley. So as always, thank you so much for being with us, and we're so excited to bring you new shows, new content, and new perspectives. So we'll see you soon. Take care.
Nightly, bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Neurodivergent Experience. We hope today's episode sparks something for you, whether it's a new idea, a bit of validation, or just a moment of connection. Remember, new episodes are every week, so be sure to join us for the next one for more conversations and insights into the neurodivergent experience. If you've enjoyed this podcast, help us grow. You can do that by rating and reviewing this show. Your support makes a huge difference in helping us reach more people who could benefit from these conversations. You can connect with us on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search for the Neurodivergent Experience. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, take care of yourself. You're not alone in this journey.